everyone, I'm Moody Boo and I'm back with another house review. Now this is going to be a part one. There'll probably be 3 parts to this house review because I have quite a few of them, either in decants or full bottles. And that's the house of Atelier Cologne. Now I'm going to be looking at 5 of them today that I have. And these are, I think, really appropriate for springtime, this time of year. That's why I'm starting with them. And the next 5 I'll do will also be appropriate for this time of year. And then I think the last bit will be more the winter time, colder weather scents. But that'll be upon us soon enough, unfortunately. So anyway, the ones I'm going to be reviewing is Cafe Tuberose, that I have a little travel size of here. Blo Blonde, another little travel size, travel size. And then I've got Patchouli Riviera, and then my Cedrat Environt, and then another new one, which is Pacific Lime. And a subscriber asked me to rank these, like give my top 2 or 3 when I do a house review. And I will try to do that. I'll probably just do my top 2 since I'm doing 3 parts to this house. But it's really hard for me to do that. I try not to rank them very often unless there's a runaway winner or unless I do a battle of kind of thing. But because my tastes change so much. I think I've said before, it's the same thing sometimes with perfumes that I like or love that are really close to being at the same level of love for each of them. For me, it's like watching a Mel Brooks movie. Other than Young Frankenstein, that will always be number 1. So every other movie that he made will only tie for number 1 or be number 2. Never, ever can any of his movies ever top, or most comedies for that matter, top Young Frankenstein, in my opinion. Not very humble at that, because I think it's pure genius. But any of the other movies that I've watched of his, whichever one I watched last is my favorite. So if it was Blazing Saddles, if it was History of the World Part 1, if it was High Anxiety, if it was Spaceballs, then that is my favorite. So I feel like ranking them is a bit misleading because next month I may rank them completely differently. So as long as I can put that caveat out there, I'll be happy to rank on my house reviews or whenever it's appropriate. I'll give my top couple of favorites at that time, at that moment, in that state of mind. The queen of caveats. So, okay, we'll just get started. So I wanted to talk about some of the ones that I have tried and rejected. I got sample sets, I think, of most of the Collection Azure and Collection Orient, I think it was called. And I just didn't really care for any of them when I tried them. But that was quite a ways back. So I probably should see if I can find those and test them out again, see if I still feel the same way. But yeah, they weren't my favorites. And the Silver Iris and Gold Leather, they didn't do anything for me either, unfortunately. Or, you know, who cares? There's nothing unfortunate about it. I just didn't like them. And there were several others that, you know, just didn't do anything for me. Now, there's many that I want to try that I have yet to. And so I am thinking I am not done with adding to my collection of Atelier Cologne perfumes for sure, because it's a really good house. And you can get different sizes, which I love. They make so many different sizes of travel, of samples, of, you know, they have the little 1-ounce bottles that are very affordable up to the big, huge honkin' bottles. And I've got some of each of those. I've got big ones, kind of mid ones, little ones, and then tiny ones. So Yeah, it's one thing I really appreciate when a perfume house sells a lot of different sizes at a lot of different price ranges, because that makes it very nice, especially when people like me are running out of room for full bottles. So, anyway, yeah, I should do my top 10 decants that I'm going to get a full bottle of, but I've done something like that pretty closely. I'm always thinking of lists. I sit there and I wake up from a nightmare the other night, like a week ago. And you know how you wake up from a nightmare and you're a little fucked up? And I was sleeping pretty heavy, it felt like, when I was having this nightmare. So I was a little messed up when I woke up. And I was thinking, oh my God, that'd be a great 8 great perfume list of what perfumes would you wear. Now I'm a little fucked up, remember. What perfumes would you wear while you're running from clowns, crazy clowns wearing nothing but spandex in a crazy nightmare carnival? Seriously, a list. Sometimes I'll wake up from some crazy ass dream and think, oh, that would be a great list. You know how when you sleeping really heavy and you have a really intense dream and you wake up, it wakes you up because it's that intense. Whether it's a nightmare or whether it's just a really action-filled dream. So about a week ago, and this isn't the first time, a week ago, I woke up from this nightmare and I thought, and I was fucked up. I was like, you know, trying to wake up a little bit so I could go pee and come back and hopefully reset and not have that dream again. But before I was able to even walk to the bathroom, I'm thinking, that would be a really good 8 great list. What perfumes would you wear while running from a bunch of insane clowns wearing nothing but spandex in the middle of some alien carnival? And as soon as that thought finished, I had this whole picture in my head as I was thinking it. That woke me up. I was like, what? What? What are you thinking about? What kind of crazy crap? No, you are not making a list about that. No. Anyway, so I'll just get started with my smallest one, which is Blo Blonde. So the first time I tried Blo Blonde was many years ago, and I didn't like it. It's so unassuming and so just not anything that you should hate. And I hated it. I didn't like it at all. So then just like last spring, no, it was like end of last summer. Somebody threw this in when I was buying a perfume. I think it was on eBay. And they threw this in as a little just extra. I was like, damn, okay. This is going to be nice in the spring. And I have worn it, and it is. Now I'm just starting to wear it because I've worn so many different perfumes this spring. It's just ridiculous. I have been known to just go take a shower just so I can wash off the perfumes and test more perfumes. It's an obsession, maybe. So if you hear noises in the background, my blind and deaf, almost 17-year-old Australian Shepherd is dreaming, and he's rather noisy. So anyway, he's not in any distress. He's just very active in his dreams. So anyway, this Blo Blonde, when I tried it again recently, I was like, okay, I usually don't like neroli. And this is neroli and woods and vetiver, and there's some other white florals, a little pink pepper, musk, incense. I don't know about that. And the deep dry down, though, is when I get the woody notes. They are there throughout the whole wearing, but it's heavy neroli based. It's very fresh. It's like there's some other citruses, like some bergamot or something like that in there as well. But it's the neroli stays there throughout the wearing for sure. It's just with the dry down, and I think the vetiver is there from the get-go too. But once it dries down, it gets a little less moist, a little less floral, I think, and a little more earthy. But it's beautiful. Performance isn't outstanding, but it's, you know, a freshy neroli spring summer perfume. So it lasts 5-6 hours for me. But I haven't worn it in hot weather as of yet. It probably won't perform as well. But, oh, it's a good one. Anyway, that's Blo Blonde. I'll probably get a full bottle. Well, at least the 1 ounce bottle or a bigger travel size once this runs out. I've been carrying this in my purse quite a bit. Next. So Patchouli Riviera is not the same thing as Maestro Patchouli. Looking at Atelier Cologne's website, they have Patchouli Riviera as patchouli, pomelo, and pink pepper. And that's what I get. Absolutely. I think the patchouli and the pomelo are it throughout the whole thing. I don't get a lot of dry down with this. It's pretty linear. I actually prefer Maestro Patchouli over this. It has much more dimensions, and I really enjoyed that one, but I can't find it. I thought I had it, but I can't find it. So I think it fell behind my dresser. That's kind of my perfumes version of where one sock goes. It's like I figured out, I think it's behind my dresser, but my dresser is so big and so heavy and has so much shit on it, perfumes on it, that and clothes in it, that it's going to take me a long time to get to those perfumes back there. I know. Sad. So anyway, performance is okay on it, about 4 to 6 hours, but it's not my favorite. Very unisex, but it's just, I think pomelo has to be done just right, and it's got to have some depth and some sweetness to it before I really enjoy it. Now, Pomelo Paradis, I like better than this one, but we'll get to that one. Anyway, so yeah, that's Patchouli Riviera. Next. The next one is Cedrat Innovant. Anyway, this is just an old crappy bottle, but the juice inside is good because I've had many of these. Well, not many. This is my second one. Exaggerated just a bit. So this is citron and lime and patchouli and bergamot and juniper berries and vetiver. And there's some other green notes, eleni, a little tonka. I don't get any of that. It's all about the citrus notes, the patchouli and the citron, maybe some of the vetiver and juniper berries. Maybe just slightly, but really it's this sweet, refreshing, citrusy, slightly woody perfume. It doesn't have a big trajectory. But it does move a little bit. It's super unisex. This is a beautiful spring summer perfume. It's what I call one of those mindless perfumes, a lazy day kind of perfume, to where you don't feel like standing over your collection making a decision. You just grab one and spray it. It's very benign. There's no malignancy to it at all. There's nothing groundbreaking. There's nothing that will make anybody go, whoa. So you could wear it pretty much any daytime setting. All right, next up. Oh, what a knife for. The next one is a fairly recent acquisition, and that's Pacific Lime. This is going to be a good summer perfume. So this is just lime, coconut, lemon, eucalyptus, and mint. And this one is one of the most unique coconut perfumes that I own. A lot of them, not a lot of them, but some go suntan lotion, copper tony. Others go real dry, woody, like you're smelling more the shell of the coconut than the pulp inside. Some go really sweet and artificial, and yeah, they're not good either. I like something kind of in between all three of those, because I do love a sweet coconut, but that is not what you smell out in nature when you smell a coconut. They're never sweet. They are tangy. There's a little tang when you smell a opened coconut. There's maybe a hint of sweetness. There's some milkiness to it, but it's really not a super sweet or a super dry or a super woody kind of a smell at all. So anyway, this is not a sweet coconut. This is a refreshing coconut, but it's not a boozy coconut. With the notes, you would think that it'd be more along the lines of Virgin Island water or something like that, where you can just picture adding a little tequila to it and taking off to the islands, you know. This is not that. This is a much more natural, like you are drinking some coconut. If you've ever just gone and bought a coconut in the tropics, they get a hole in it for you and just stick a straw in and hand it to you, and you walk down the street drinking your coconut water. That's what this reminds me of, is that kind of coconut, but with a whole lot of citruses, like you're in a citrus orchard while you're drinking that coconut water. And the mint and the eucalyptus really add this coolness to it, this real lightness, makes it very refreshing. And this is my second favorite of this video, of this section of Atelier Cologne perfumes. Once I do all three parts, I'll try to narrow it down to maybe my top three, you know, maybe one from each video, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's too much pressure. I can't handle the pressure. Anyway, this is just a really refreshing, light, not very sweet at all, more tart than sweet kind of a perfume. It's gorgeous. And this one lasts about 5 hours on me. Pretty easy. I'm going to be wearing the shitski out of this summer, I'm telling you. I say that about all my summer perfumes. So that's why I put the perfumes that are back behind me here on the shelf. That's my rotation. A lot of those, they're either just pretty bottles that I love and I want to look at in better light, because this is our house has southern exposure and this is the northern side of the house, so there's no direct sunlight at all. And this is like the most regulated, cool part of the house, is the center of the house, so it's perfect for my babies. So anyway, that way I actually wear some of the perfumes I say I'm going to wear. Because I'm just such a simple-minded person. If I don't see it, I don't wear it. Sometimes I don't even remember I have it. So is that my baby?
Nope.
I'm just doing a video.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I am going to jump in the shower. I don't want to kiss you. I don't want to touch you.
All right. Next. All right. The last one is, I have this kind of shitty travel spray. And this is the Cafe Tuberose. Now, this is my favorite of the 5 that I've talked about today, for sure. And this is one of my latest discoveries. If you hear my sex god is in the shower, hot, wet, and naked. And here I am filming a video. What am I thinking? So anyway, this is coffee and cocoa, and there's some white florals and some rose and vanilla. And there's cardamom and a little bit of citrus. This is, for me, a very creamy, gourmand smelling rose. It's incredible. Now on Fragrantica, people have voted for Tuberose to be the more dominant note over rose. I don't get that at all. This is a creamy, chocolatey, little bit of coffee smelling kind of a vanilla rose. It's gorgeous. It does remind me of something a little bit, oh, what's that, L'Artisan, Roses Velour. It's kind of, I think they're not the same by any means, but if you like Roses Velour, you'd probably like Cafe Tuberose. And I know they say Tuberose in the title of it, but honestly, for me, this is a creamy, sweet, gourmand kind of a rose. It's stunning, and I don't like rose at all. Well, not at all, obviously, but most times rose puts me off. It has to be a very creamy or a very gothic, dark kind of a rose before I'm at all interested. This is the creamy one. It's beautiful. And performance on this is really good for me. This is like 6 to 8 hours easy. And this one, though, you have to be pretty careful in hot weather. I have worn this in, well, yeah, it was pretty hot. It was like 80, 85. And it wasn't cloying. I only had one spray on, but I could smell it blooming. It was getting bigger. If I'd have put 2 sprays on, it'd have probably been too much in the hot weather. But as far as nighttime, cooler nights, springtime, and even cold weather, I think this would be wonderful. I don't usually reach for this during cold weather. I don't know why. Just because there's so many winter and fall and the cool weather. That's my favorite perfume season of all. Because that's when my favorite perfumes, I get to just drown myself in them. Spring, summer, I'm appreciating them more lately, the last few years, than I used to. But I almost used to go, oh, I'm so bored with spring, summer perfumes, blah, blah, wah, wah. But now there's plenty of them out there that I adore. And there's plenty of them that decants and stuff that I have that I can't wait to explore in hotter weather. This is my favorite of the day. So, all right, well, and it's very, just because it's that creamy, sweet, almost gourmand rose does not mean men can't wear this. Oh my God, please, 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 twice. I would love for men to wear more sweet perfumes. I would love to smell something other than fougères and chypres and, you know, those kind of perfumes on men. I would love to smell sweet, gourmandy, vanilla, ambery kind of perfumes on men. And I don't think that's just me. I would say it was just me if I thought it was just me. I don't think it's just me. I think a lot of women would appreciate it, to be really honest with you. So think about it, guys. All right, well, that's it for me. I think I'm going to go check on my hot, wet, naked, hunky stud cake in the bathroom. It is Friday night after all. All right, everybody. You take care and use your own nose. Like, subscribe, please, and thank you. Peace.